This is the Mets Postcast, your instant game reaction for the New York Mets. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Behind a season-high 21 hits and a dominating performance from Nolan McLean in his second big league start, the Mets were able to take the opener from the Atlanta Braves by a final of 12-7. Welcome into the Mets Postcast here, live on the Locked On Mets YouTube channel. Listen to us in the Locked On Mets podcast feed. I am your Postcast host, Chris Schubert, here with you after each and every Mets game throughout the course of the season. Felt like we were going to watch this team cruise to a nice victory on Friday night. Got a little scary there at the end. We'll make sure to talk about the outings from Reed Garrett and Ryan Helsley. We'll save that for the stuff to keep an eye on a little bit later on here in the show. But we start with a man who made his second major league start tonight, and I would argue it was better than his debut.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Pop the champagne, have whatever celebration you want to have, because the Mets have a starter not named David Peterson that went 6+ innings. The first time since June 7th that the Mets have had somebody in their rotation not named David Peterson pitch into the sixth. And Nolan McLean said, I'll do you one better. How about 7 innings in this one? And I don't know if many of you felt this way, but after he slipped and hit Profar with the first pitch, it didn't feel like it was going to be Nolan McLean and the New York Mets night, but he overcame that, settled down, and looked like, I'll just tell you how I feel. He looked like the ace of this team. He looked like somebody who is an absolute force on the mound, is not scared of who is in the batter's box across from him. It could be Matt Olson. It could be Ronald Acuna. He did not care. He stepped up to the plate tonight, stepped up to the challenge, and I'd say he dominated. I know he gave up 2 earned runs, and he had a scoreless outing in his debut. I think this start was better, not just because he went deep into the game and finally put to bed that narrative that has been hanging over this team since June 7th, but it was just how easy he made it look. Overcoming the blunder on the first pitch, all of the life on his pitches, the spin that he had on both the sweeper and the curveball. I mean, he had a couple of nasty strikeouts of Matt Olson in this game, especially the first one. He threw him a back foot. It looked like the curveball. Might have been the sweeper, but he threw him something to his back foot down and in, and he just absolutely fooled Matt Olson. But there's just a composure about Nolan McLean that I think none of the other starters have. Now, I don't think any of the other starters have the stuff that Nolan McLean has, so that gives him a leg up. But the composure that he showed in only his second start, I thought was excellent. He gave up the home run to Acuna. That made it 7-2, and he didn't let it fluster him. Retired 11 straight after that, including coming back and facing Acuna in the next time that he got a chance to face him, and struck him out on 97 upstairs. And he had velocity late in this game, was dialing it up 96, 97, even in to the 6th and 7th innings. Didn't get rattled by the Acuna home run, didn't get rattled by the blunder on the first pitch. Just a guy who has so much poise, so much composure. And oh, by the way, didn't walk anybody, right? Concern, if there was one coming out of his MLB debut, it was he had 4 walks. Is that going to be a problem, right? Against some good teams that now have some tape out on him. How is he going to be able to handle that? Handled it very nicely tonight. Had really good command of his pitches. And I'll tell you, it was just free and easy to sit back, relax, and enjoy watching Nolan McLean start tonight. I'm sure many of you felt the same way. You weren't, I wasn't looking up at the score bug, trying to pay attention to where his pitch count was, because you just could feel it. You could feel he was in control. You could feel that he was going to go deep into the game, right? You looked up and it was the 6th inning. And I'll be honest, I kind of had forgotten that Nolan McLean, that no pitcher other than David Peterson had gone into the 6th inning, just because we got to the 6th inning and it felt right. It felt good that Nolan McLean was pitching into the 6th and 7th, and good on Carlos Mendoza for giving him that 7th inning after what he did there in the 6th. I know his pitch count was getting elevated there a little bit, but he was in full command, full control of this game. Sat down 9 in a row at that point and got it up to 11. Drake Baldwin got him a couple times tonight, but other than that, he settled in very nicely and it was a fantastic start for Nolan McLean, his second time out. And so how could you not be just thrilled that the Mets are going to get to hand the ball to this kid every 5 or 6 days here down the stretch? I mean, he's taking the ball, taking the mound, and there's just a confidence, a swagger, maybe more so a composure that comes off his swagger from Nolan McLean. Just thought he was excellent tonight. And you thought you could see the game plan against lefties tonight as well, was just pounding that outside corner. Even if he was missing, he wasn't afraid to double up, triple up in that spot because he wanted to own that outside part of the plate to lefties. And I love when a pitcher has a game plan and trusts himself, even if he's missing a little bit. No, this is the game plan. This is what we think is going to give us a chance to succeed. And he trusts his stuff to be able to execute it. So he was just absolutely excellent tonight. So a tip of the cap to Nolan McLean, who had an absolutely fantastic second start for the New York Mets. We got to talk about the offense. Season high 21 hits. Everybody getting involved. A career day from Brett Baty. And yes, even some production from the bottom of the order in this lineup. We'll get to it all here on the other side. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-hour energy transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game, whether you're out on the course or you just need a little extra push to power you through the day. 5-hour energy transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape, ginger, lime flavor of 5-hour energy transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit FIVEHEWIN.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Exclude the Masters tournament, and it ends October 31st, 2025. Back here on the Mets Postcast, live on the Locked On Mets YouTube channel, listening to us in the Locked On Mets podcast feed, recapping a big night for the Mets, both offensively and on the mound with Nolan McLean. A 12-7 win for the New York Mets. The offensive bats, they were there. They showed up in a big way here tonight, and it was everybody. Every single starter getting a hit in this one. I think my top-line takeaway is Brett Baty having a career night, but you could certainly talk about a bunch of different guys in this lineup having great days. Juan Soto driving in 4 RBIs, including a home run, drawing a couple of walks. But Brett Baty, 4 for 6 in this one. Didn't drive in any runs, but a career day. And what I loved about this offensive approach tonight from the Mets is they just attacked and they were hitting the ball so hard. This is what you're supposed to do against a guy who, coming in, Wentz, had a 4.72 ERA. You're supposed to tag him for 6 runs and 9 hits. You're supposed to get to Eric Fetty for 11 hits and 6 earned runs. This is what frustrated, I think, many of us about the National Series, is you're supposed to tag these starters that aren't very good, get to the bullpen, and do it to those guys as well. And the Mets did that tonight against the Atlanta Braves, and they were just hitting the ball so hard. I was taking notes throughout the course of the game, and I can't tell you how many times early in this game I just wrote, this person got a hit, ball was smoked, right? I mean, I have Baty, Mullins there in the third. It was in the 5th, I think I had another one from Baty and from Vientos. I mean, there was just a bunch of hard hit balls in this game. There were guys just making some really great contact, and they did it early and often. The 3rd inning, a leadoff single from Alonso, they turned that into a couple of runs. A leadoff single by Lindor, they turned that into a couple of runs. So the Mets took advantage of the base runners that they got on early in this game, and they scored those runners. They didn't leave them out there on the pond. They didn't leave those as missed chances, right? Alonso leadoff double. Baty hits the ball hard. A triple from Mullins makes it 4-0. They just kind of stacked together a bunch of hits in this game and took advantage of the opportunities that they had. I also want to talk about Francisco Lindor because I think this was a statement game from Francisco Lindor. I think this was a reminder to all of us that he is the leader, and as he goes, this team goes. And I think he played tonight like he wanted to show something. Not only the 3 hits and the walk that he drew, but stealing multiple bases in this game. The way he played defensively, it just felt like he wanted to make a statement. Maybe not to all of us, but to the rest of his teammates, as to say, it's here. It's time. It's time to get this ball club to another level. It's time to play at another level. And I'm not just going to talk about it. I'm going to be about it. And Francisco Lindor was certainly about it tonight. Pair of stolen bases up to 22 on the season. And like we said, setting the tone early in this game, 3 for 5 with a walk at the top part of the lineup. The bottom of the order had a really nice day. How about Tyrone Taylor with 3 hits? How about Cedric Mullins with 3 hits and 2 RBIs? And not just infield hits. That triple that Mullins hit was smoked. And so, listen, I don't know if the bottom part of the order is going to be able to do this every night. I wouldn't expect it. But if Tyrone Taylor can just give you some of what he gave you tonight, and compact swing from Tyrone, right? Pulling the ball, taking the ball the other way, just felt very free and easy tonight for Tyrone Taylor. Cedric Mullins taking advantage of mistakes. That triple was middle, just turned on it, crushed it. How about Hayden Sanger with a 3 RBI night? I mean, when you're getting, do some quick math here, 6 RBIs, half of the team's offensive output tonight came from the bottom part of the lineup, you're going to win most nights, man. If you're going to get even close to that level of production from those 3 guys, while McNeil is banged up and needs some time, while Nimmo's dealing with the neck and needs some time, while they're trying to manage Terrens, while also having Francisco Alvarez on the shelf. I mean, they don't need to be 50% of the offense, but if they're giving you anything, it's going to give the Mets a really nice chance in this one. So just good to see everybody really contribute in this game. Every starter had a hit, multi-hit games for Lindor, from Soto, Baty, Taylor, Mullins, Sanger. I mean, you just had a lot of great offensive nights, and it was, you saw it, 21 hits, 12 runs. I mean, this was the best this team has looked offensively all season long. It wasn't all positives in this one, and so we'll transition into the stuff to keep an eye on as we get out of here in this one, because the Mets did make this a lot closer than it needed to be, and it was firmly because of Reed Garrett and Ryan Helsley continuing to struggle. I think many of us thought, I know I did after Reed Garrett's last outing, that maybe he had gotten himself back confidence-wise, but he didn't. 3 hits, he allowed 2 runs, and it continues to be a struggle for him. And for Ryan Helsley, it was a big struggle. And the annoying part of Helsley having a bit of a blow-up performance tonight is that the Mets needed to at least get Edwin Diaz up and throwing. Now, I'll give credit to Edwin in this regard. He's really good in these types of moments of not going too hard and not overexerting himself and not warming up too quickly. And so I don't think it's going to affect his ability and his availability here over the next couple of days. I think if the Mets need him to pitch the final 2 games of this series, he'll be available. But in a game where what was the top? It was 12-2 at one point after Soto singled in the top of the 8th. 12-2. I should never. The only time they should show Edwin Diaz on the broadcast is if he's sitting down, blowing bubble gum and hanging out with the rest of the relievers. That's the only time I want to see Edwin Diaz on the broadcast. Yet he had to take the jacket off and he was out there throwing. That's bad. And Ryan Helsley continues to struggle. And it's not a stuff problem. He had the fastball very quickly up to 100 tonight. So it may be more of a confidence thing. But boy, would I have some reservations if I was Carlos Mendoza about using Ryan Helsley right now in a high leverage spot. I'm way more trustworthy of Rogers and Soto right now than I am of Garrett and Helsley. And so those would be the 2 guys that I would use in high leverage spots right now. We thought maybe Helsley having that nice outing in the 8th, even though it wasn't a huge spot against the Mariners in the Little League Classic, maybe got him back in a good frame of mind. This is going to send him right back if it did. I mean, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, and the walk. And you can't have that from somebody who is supposed to be your 8th inning guy, supposed to be your setup man. So it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows tonight for the Mets. It was mostly sunshine and rainbows, even though it rained late in this game. A lot of good stuff for the New York Mets, a lot of stuff to build off of going into tomorrow. But you just hate that Garrett and Helsley made this a lot closer than it needed to be, and that Edwin Diaz needed to get up. So that certainly fits into the bucket of what we keep an eye on here on the show. But the Mets, they get a much-needed victory, a much-needed night offensively, and Nolan McLean picked up right where he left off as the newest member of this Mets rotation. And again, after his first start, he certainly cemented himself as a member of this rotation, and I have no problem saying it right now. This is the best guy that the Mets have to offer out there in that rotation. I know David Peterson's been doing it longer and he's been more consistent, but nobody in this rotation has the stuff, the moxie, the swagger, the confidence, whatever word you want to use. Nobody has it the way Nolan McLean has it right now. And it's just different when he's on the mound. It's different in the stuff. It's different in the attitude. It's just different in everything. And the Mets certainly need a spark like this. And for 2 outings, McLean has given the Mets that spark. So in that regard, just a huge night for the New York Mets. The baton gets passed. Clay Holmes looks to keep this momentum rolling. He looks to lock up a series win for the Mets. And look, this place has been a house of horrors for the Mets a lot here. Atlanta in general, but specifically Truist Park. Boy, would it feel good for all of us if the Mets could take care of business tomorrow and they could already have a series win in their back pocket before we get to Sunday. Overall, a fantastic night for the New York Mets. The offense, season high, 21 hits. It was a party for everybody offensively. Big nights from Lindor, from Soto, from Baty, the bottom of the order, Taylor, Mullins, Senger, combining for 6 of the Mets' 12 runs. Just a great night, and I'll save the best for last. Nolan McLean having an absolutely dominant performance. 7 strikeouts, did not walk anybody, gave up a couple of hits, gave up a couple of runs, but showed off all of the things you love to see from a starter. The ability to bounce back from a mistake, the ability to stick to a game plan, and just some nasty, wicked stuff. So it was a great night across the board for the Mets. So hopefully they can keep things rolling into tomorrow. We will be right back here to break that down when it does happen. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so that you are notified when we go live after each and every Mets game throughout the course of the season. For my podcast listeners out there, we appreciate you. If you want to join us the moment the Mets game's over, we go live here on the Locked On Mets YouTube channel. You can join us and share your thoughts in real time. The Mets get a much-needed victory. It was a good night, mostly across the board. The Mets now look to start some momentum here. And once again, it's Nolan McLean who is the starter. He's the guy that has started the momentum when the Mets had their 3-game winning streak last weekend. And he's the guy that started things off tonight for the Mets in Atlanta. Have a good one, Mets fans.